The cruel deprivation of the life of 9-year-old Lisa Kiseleva stirred up not only Saratov, but also the whole of Russia. 3 years ago, on the 9th of October, 2019, a girl disappeared on her way to school. Hundreds of volunteers came out to search for her. Concerned citizens brought tea and food to the volunteers of the search headquarters. For 2 days, people combed all the districts of the regional center in the hope of finding Lisa alive. However, the miracle did not happen. 3 days later at night it became known that the girl was dead. Her body was found in a garage not far from where she disappeared. The tragedy shook the whole city. Hundreds of Saratov residents gathered at the scene of the incident. They demanded to hand over to them for lynching a man detained on suspicion of deprivation of life. Public unrest continued throughout the night. Towards the evening of the 9th of October, the first information appeared in the Saratov media that 9-year-old Lisa Kiseleva had disappeared in the regional center. The GU of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of the region and the Lisa Alert search team reported that the girl disappeared at 7:30 in the morning on the way to school in the Kirovsky district, and also published her main signs. At about 19:00, representatives of the CSKA of the region called the exact place of the disappearance. It turned out that the girl left the house at the address High 7 and went to school number 73, which was located in the house number 44 on the second magnetic passage. Accordingly, it was decided to concentrate the search in this area. By this time, the girl was already being searched for by volunteers, employees of the SU-IC and the GU of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. They also interviewed relatives, neighbors, classmates and peers of the little girl. 3 hours later, at about 22:00, investigators opened a criminal case on the fact of Lisa's disappearance. As reported in the Sosk region, the most experienced investigators and criminologists joined the investigation. The seizure of recordings from surveillance cameras along the route of the girl began.
Hey, I'm not going to beat around the bush. You have to subscribe to the channel and like it so you don't miss new videos.
All night from the 9th to the 10th of October, hundreds of people searched for the missing Lisa. A search headquarters was deployed near the old airport. By 1 o'clock in the morning local time, 694 people had registered at the headquarters, 27 of them Lisa Alert volunteers. Early in the morning, at about 8 o'clock, there were almost 8,000 messages in the comments of the Lisa Alert Saratov community on the Contact social network to the post about the search for the girl. Most of them are from volunteers who offered to print out orientations and help us in a hurry to search. Drivers of cars that passed yesterday morning in the area of Lisa's disappearance were asked to check the video recorders that could film the girl. In addition, some social network users suggested finding the chairman of a nearby garage cooperative and asking garage owners to open the doors for activists and dog handlers. Around 9 o'clock, the press service of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of the region distributed comments about the search for the schoolgirl. Representatives of the Central Board noted that more than 100 police officers take part in search activities. At that moment, streets, attics, basements of houses, garage arrays were examined. We checked shopping malls, studied CCTV footage. From about 10 to 11 in the morning, disturbing reports about the disappearance of another schoolgirl began to appear in the media. 13-year-old Alyona Bobkova from Engels. It was known that she disappeared on the same day as Eliza, only a few hours later. However, by 12 o'clock on the 10th of October, it turned out that Alyona was found alive. All this time she was with a friend, and the search for Lisa did not bring any results. At the same time, a correspondent of one of the publications visited the headquarters of the volunteers and talked with the search coordinator. He said that a huge number of fakes are spreading on the internet about the fact that the girl fell through the hatch, or that she was taken away by an unknown car. At the same time, the man did not comment on the information that a package with a shift allegedly belonging to the missing girl was found in one of the garbage cans located near the place of Lisa's disappearance. By lunchtime, from about 13 to 16:00, a sketch of a man who may be involved in the disappearance of Lisa Kiseleva began to be distributed in the media and in social networks. On the sheet where the man's face is depicted, it is indicated that the bus driver saw him. Signs are also named. He looks 28 to 35 years old, 180 centimeters tall, sparse beard, black hair. Neither the UK nor the Ministry of Internal Affairs could confirm or deny the authenticity of the sketch. After 2200, it became known that experienced search engines from Moscow were going to fly to Saratov to help in the search for Lisa. The chairman of the search team stressed that more than 5,000 orientations have already been posted around the city. Employees of the regional and city rescue service, police officers, representatives of the investigative committee and just concerned citizens continue to search for the schoolgirl. After midnight, information spread in the media that the body of 9-year-old Lisa Kiseleva was found in garages near the school where she studied. As a source in the media clarified, the suspect in the deprivation of the girl's life was detained. It was possible to calculate it when working out people previously convicted under certain articles. Previously, the suspect served time for abuse. The detainee allegedly confessed to the investigator himself and showed where he hid the body. It turned out to be 35-year-old Mikhail Tuvatin. 1 o'clock in the morning, the Lisa Alert Squad stopped the search for Lisa to check the information. "We ask everyone to go home before morning," it was written in the community of the detachment. At 2 o'clock in the morning, a spontaneous rally gathered in the garages where the girl's body was found. According to preliminary data, law enforcement officers brought a suspect to the scene and tried to conduct an investigative experiment. However, their work was prevented by angry Saratov residents. People demanded to hand over the executioner to them. The neighbors of the deceased girl said that the investigative actions allegedly took place at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and, perhaps, the suspect was brought to the crime scene at that time. Enraged citizens tried to shake the UAZ of the police. Riot police came to reinforce, and this calmed the crowd. 20 people began to leave the garages and gather to the Ministry of Internal Affairs in the city of Saratov, on Moskovskaya Street. Information has passed that the criminal may be here. Saratov residents are sure that the suspect was delivered in a recently arrived paddy wagon. Law enforcement officers immediately reacted to the excitement. A bus with police officers arrived at Moskovskaya. Law enforcement officers began building on the territory of the department. At 4 o'clock in the morning, about 100 citizens gathered on Moskovskaya Street. People said they were dissatisfied with the work of the police. Residents of the city were outraged that the guards did not report for a long time that they had found a body, and the volunteers continued the search when it was pointless. People were offended by the fact that the investigative actions allegedly began at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Around 9 o'clock, one of the correspondents visited the house of the deceased Lisa Kiseleva and walked all the way to the school where the girl studied. It turned out that the road runs along a steep slope, a broken staircase leads to the school. Then you have to go through the garage cooperative, where it is deserted. All the walls and pillars along the way are plastered with orientations about the search for Lisa. On the bench at the entrance, where the girl lived, Saratov residents began to bring soft toys. At the same time, information appeared on the website of the RFIC that the head of the department, Alexander Bastrikin, sent forensic investigators from the central office to Saratov to assist in the investigation of the crime and the most expeditious examination of evidence. According to the RFIC, a few months ago, the suspect saw the old garage, changed the lock and took possession of it without permission. On that fateful day on the 9th of October, he was in the garage. A girl was walking by, asked if it was his garage. The attacker assumed that the garage belonged to Lisa's family, was afraid of exposure, dragged the girl there and took her life. Against the background of the incident, citizens on social networks asked the authorities to declare a day of mourning for the Saratov region. A petition has also appeared on the internet demanding that the murderer be lynched. Around 1300, the investigative committee of the Russian Federation published a video of the suspect's interrogation. The man on camera admitted guilt and repented of the crime. According to investigators, the detainee has outstanding convictions for abuse and robbery, has previously been repeatedly convicted of property crimes. In addition, a video was published on the internet in which a volunteer of the search headquarters told how they managed to find the body of Lisa Kiseleva. It turned out that the suspect had 3 garages at once, 1 main, 2 abandoned. An adjacent fin was made of each. During the tour of the garage array, the man was asked to show only the first garage, and it was clean. According to the volunteer, no one approached the 3rd garage where the girl's body was lying. The reason? It is overgrown with trees, it is simply impossible to get into it from the outside. The trial began on the 3rd of August, 2020 of the year and was held in the Saratov Regional Court in closed mode, since the victim of the crime was a minor. The defendant fully admitted his guilt on all counts, but at the meeting on the 7th of August refused to admit guilt on one of the points. Kiselev's family, in turn, refused to file a claim for moral damages. State prosecutors and Lisa's family have requested a life sentence for Tuvatin. On the 24th of August, 2020, the Saratov Regional Court found Mikhail Tuvatin guilty on all counts of the charges and sentenced him to life imprisonment with serving his sentence in a special regime colony. Journalists were not allowed into the courtroom due to restrictions in connection with the coronavirus pandemic. The chairman of the Saratov Regional Court noted that the severity of the punishment imposed on Tuvatin is due to the special gravity of the crimes committed by him. The girl's mother Lisa Kiseleva told reporters after the verdict was announced that during the trial Tuvatin did not repent of the crime and did not ask for forgiveness. The wound of the charges and the defense of the victims were satisfied with the verdict. Tuvatin himself listened to the verdict in silence, after the criminal's lawyer filed an appeal. On November 2, 2000, the Court of Appeal in Nizhny Novgorod upheld Mikhail Tuvatin's life sentence unchanged. Mikhail was transferred to the city of Soliletsk, Orenburg region, VK6, known as the Black Dolphin.